Welcome to the Nightly 5 podcast with Ben O'Shea.
A pro-Palestine protest at Melbourne University is nearing tipping point more than 24 hours after activists occupied a key building.
This week, a pro-Palestine rally forced Melbourne University to cancel 150 classes as protesters refused to move from a university building as part of rolling sit-ins at unis in Australian capital cities. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has faced increasing pressure over the war in Gaza, with Albo yesterday forced to condemn the actions of Labor Senator Fatima Payman. Payman broke ranks with her party to accuse Israel of genocide and repeat a slogan associated with the ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns sacked an MP this week who repeatedly criticised Israel after he refused to withdraw comments accusing New South Wales police of using intimidation towards pro-Palestinian protesters. Mr Minns removed Anthony D'Adam from the secretarial position in State Parliament after the Upper House MP made a late-night speech to Parliament on Wednesday, likening the conduct of a specialist unit of police to an occupying army. With the protests set to continue at our universities, you might be wondering why this particular issue has resonated so much with Australian students. In the US, pro-Palestine protests have been the biggest student demonstrations since the Vietnam War. So what gives? It's certainly not the only conflict in the world right now, Ukraine, for example, and it's certainly not the only humanitarian crisis. So what is it about Gaza? Associate Professor Erin O'Brien from Griffith University's School of Government and International Relations says there's a few factors at play. Just like the Black Lives Matter protests from a few years ago, the Gaza conflict has a strong narrative that is a powerful motivator. It's a time-sensitive crisis, so people feel like they have to act immediately. Professor O'Brien says the crisis appears to have a so-called ideal victim, innocent Palestinian women and children, which is something that resonates with people, motivating them to speak out against what they perceive is a wrong being committed. And perhaps most importantly, Professor O'Brien says there's a feeling that protesting could have a tangible effect. It isn't just screaming into the void. Students genuinely believe their actions can convince their universities to make public declarations of support for the people of Gaza or even cut ties with Israel. And we've seen examples of this happening around the world. So you can see how this is a very different situation than Ukraine in the minds of students, because that conflict feels like no amount of protesting will generate a change. So even with a better understanding of why students are protesting over this issue, there's no easy answer when it comes to what happens next. But the longer the conflict drags on, history tells us the less interested students and protesters will become.